The war had raged for decades. Across the stars, the Jarek Dominion expanded like wildfire, conquering one system after another. Their warlord, Korath the Unbroken, was feared in every sector, a giant of a being with skin like obsidian, teeth like knives, and an army bred only for violence. Worlds bent their knees or boned. Humanity, small and relatively new to interstellar politics, had been marked for subjugation. Yet destiny chose otherwise. Lieutenant Marcus Hale, a decorated soldier of Earth's defense fleet, found himself leading a desperate campaign against the Jarek invasion. Earth could not match the Dominion's numbers or technology, but humans had always thrived in adversity. Through cunning, adaptability, and sheer refusal to surrender, Marcus and his allies waged a guerrilla war that culminated in the unthinkable. Marcus personally challenged Korath to single combat. It was madness. Korath towered over him, wielding a plasma blade larger than Marcus himself. But humanity's strength was not in size. Marcus fought with agility, exploiting weaknesses in the warlord's pride. After a brutal battle witnessed by thousands on the Dominion's capital world, Marcus struck the final blow, piercing Korath's heart. The Unbroken was finally broken. The galaxy gasped. The warlord was dead, and with his death, the Dominion faltered. But Marcus soon discovered that victory carried a cost he could never have foreseen. The Dominion had laws older than many of its stars. One of them was a right of conquest. If a warlord was slain in ritual combat, the victor inherited his mantle. That included his spoils, his holdings, and, most controversially, his wives. Korath had 3. They were not consorts in the human sense, but bonded partners, chosen for their strength, lineage, and cunning. To the Jarek, these brides were symbols of authority. To refuse them was to spit upon the Dominion traditions and risk reigniting the war Marcus had just ended. The ruling council presented the decree in the Grand Hall, their voices echoing off black stone pillars. Marcus Hale of Earth, the elder intoned, by blood right and conquest, you are now warlord of the Jarek. By our law, you must take Korath's 3 brides as your own. Marcus stood frozen. He had expected to negotiate peace, not be bound to alien matrimony. I came here for freedom, he protested. Not this. But the council's eyes were cold. Refuse, and our warriors will see your victory as Dishna. The Dominion will rise again. Entire world will bleed. Marcus clenched his fists. He had fought to end war, not start another. And so, with a heavy heart, he accepted. The first bride, Shara, was fierce and unyielding. A battle-hardened warrior with crimson skin and eyes like molten gold, she had commanded Korath's elite guard. She met Marcus with contempt, snarling, "You are no warlord. You are prey who got lucky." The second, Lyrics, was quiet and enigmatic. Her features were softer, her voice melodic, but her mind was a labyrinth. She had been Korath's political advisor, a master of court intrigue. She studied Marcus as though he were a puzzle. "Perhaps you are not as simple as you seem," she murmured, though her smile revealed nothing. The third, Sci-Fi, was the youngest, brilliant, rebellious, and dangerous in her own way. A geneticist and engineer, she had crafted weapons of war for Korath, but resented being bound to him. She looked Marcus up and down, then smirked. "At least you're easy on the eyes." Together, they were nothing Marcus had expected. They were not trophies, nor prisoners. They were power in their own right, bound to him by law and politics. And Marcus knew if he faltered, they could tear him apart from within. Days turned into weeks. Marcus struggled to navigate the strange world of Jarek politics. The council tested him constantly, waiting for weakness. Rival warlords challenged him, seeking to claim Korath's mantle for themselves. Each time, Marcus survived through grit, strategy, and the unexpected loyalty of allies who admired his defiance. The brides, however, remained the greatest challenge. Shara despised him at first. She mocked his smaller frame, his human ideals, his refusal to rule through fear. Yet when Marcus sparred with her in the training hall and held his ground against a furious onslaught, she began to see something she had not expected: resilience. He could not overpower her, but he refused to yield. For a warrior raised to respect only strength, their stubbornness was unsettlingly admirable. Lyrics tested him with words instead of blades. She questioned his every decision, pressed him in council debates, and whispered riddles meant to entrap him. Yet Marcus, though inexperienced in alien politics, possessed a soldier's instinct for reading people. He saw through her traps, sometimes fumbling but always pushing forward honestly. Slowly, Lyrics began to suspect that honesty itself could be a weapon sharper than deceit. Sci-Fi, by contrast, gravitated toward him quickly. She delighted in his curiosity about technology and science. They spent hours in the laboratories, Marcus marveling at weapons and tools beyond Earth's comprehension. She teased him mercilessly but also confided her frustrations about being forced into Coritha's shadow. With Marcus, she found not a master, but an equal who listened. The turning point came when a rival warlord, Dravik the Ironblood, launched an uprising. He claimed Marcus was a weak pretender unfit to rule, and rallied half the Dominion to his banner. War loomed again. The council demanded Marcus crush the rebellion or step aside. Marcus knew he couldn't do it alone, and so, for the first time, he turned to the three brides, not as possessions, but as allies. Shara led his warriors into battle, her command unshakable. Lyrics outmaneuvered Dravik's political supporters, spreading rumors that eroded his base. Sci-Fi unleashed her inventions, terrifying war machines that turned the tide of combat. Together, they forged a strategy no single leader could have conceived. Marcus himself fought on the front lines, proving to the Dominion that he was not a coward who hid behind others. He dueled Dravik in the midst of fire and steel, and though the alien warlord nearly crushed him, Marcus's human tenacity carried the day. He stood blooded but victorious, blade at Dravik's throat. When Dravik fell, silence swept the battlefield. The Dominion's warriors knelt, not in fear, but in respect. The human had not only slain one warlord but defeated two. He was no pretender. He was Warlord. After the battle, Marcus returned to the capital with his wives at his side. For the first time, he saw them not as burdens but as partners who had chosen to fight with him. Shara clasped his arm firmly, acknowledging his strength. Lyrics bowed her head slightly, granting him her respect. Sci-Fi grinned, calling him our stubborn human. Peace followed. Under Marcus's rule, the Dominion did not collapse but transformed. He tempered their brutality with humanity's resilience, forging alliances instead of endless war. Some resisted, but many embraced a change. A new age began, an empire led not by fear, but by unity. Years later, Marcus stood upon the balcony of the warlord's palace, gazing at the twin suns that bathed the city in crimson and gold. Shara stood at his right, her presence steady and fierce. Lyrics at his left, sharp-eyed and calculating, whispering insights only he would hear. Sci-Fi leaned against him with a mischievous grin, already planning the next technological marvel.